Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the LCS Challengers League. Second game, I mean, there is definitely a lot more action than in that first game, but unfortunately still just as quick as a victory. And Kangas, I know you have all the faith in CLG. How are you holding up, bud? Are you doing okay?
Well, I was actually going to go the other side. I was going to say that it was cool that we got to see Sniper's ribbon, and now we can have that in highlight reels throughout the rest of the year. So, CLG Faith, though, I still think that we saw a cool look for them in the second game, trying out different styles. That's something to work on going forward.
Also, I mean, for this next game, I believe that we had some Garen played in EU. I wonder if they've actually been researching some of the tape from NACL. We might have a Garen player in this next game.
Yeah, for anyone hopping in as well, welcome anyone who was watching the LEC. But no, there is talks about this mysterious Moose Hater player and this Garen over in NA. So you're going to be able to see the OG of where that came from, because it's going to be Wildcard going up against FLYF for our next series of the day. And two provisional teams fighting it out. I mean, love to see this head-to-head. And Wildcard, I mean, I'm hoping that we get to see some shenanigans. But of course, FLYF does have the option to shut it down as long as they can pass that draft test.
Yeah, so that's number one, right? Ban the Garen against Wildcard. If you don't ban the Garen, you have to be, you just got to know that you're playing against it. And FlyFam, also, we just had CLG Faith. FlyFam is the other team tied with them right now with only one win picked up so far in the season. They actually split that series against each other. They've been struggling, but in a different way, where they have actually pushed some teams very far in their games, and they can get leads early on. So I definitely still think this is going to be a pretty exciting match.
Yeah, it'll be fun if they can weather the test that is the draft and the fun, unique picks that Wildcard to be bringing out, and see if they can maybe get themselves on even footing in that way. But we're going to start off by talking about the Wildcard roster, and we're going to talk about it in full. Obviously, we touched on the fact that Moose Hater is this Garen player, and I mean, we even got to see it on the range. When he gets a champ that he likes and is comfortable with, he's going to be absolutely popping off. But what about the rest of this roster, Cubby?
Honestly, I think the big story so far this split, it has been Wildcard and the provisional Wildcard and Fear, and how well these two provisional teams that are not affiliated with an LCS org have done in the league. I think that a lot of it has actually been around Wildcard's draft. Like, my research on Wildcard, they like red side because they want to hide a couple picks. They like to have counter, but also they love scaling. And the way they draft is very different. A lot of times we see teams draft for what you can get done in the early game, what kind of leads you can create. Wildcard, the way that they like to draft, it's how do my champions interact with your champions at the later stages of the game. And it's led to some really unique picks like Zac Top, like Garen, like Kha'Zix Jungle. Some have had more success than others, but overall, Wildcard, they play for the later stages of the game, and they've been playing it out. It's given a lot of headaches to a lot of our teams here at NACL.
I love that they actually got photos now, too. We're starting to see the players populate throughout the split. Moose Hater, we're looking at you. We got to get a photo of you. I know that
we had him on an interview earlier. You can go creep on that from week one, you know?
Yeah, we could just pull that one, exactly.
He's too busy with his new Twitter fame of being this Garen player, all right? He's too busy for playing.
He just got all the LEC followers
Too busy to take pictures. He's going to have paparazzi for that. But going up against FlyFam, I mean, we touched a little bit on the struggles that this team has had. But maybe, Kangas, let's talk about a couple of the highlights that we can see from this roster and people that we could hopefully see step up today.
So I think the big name that has been performing incredibly well is Lunacia, but I want to start with Maniac in the jungle first, because Maniac stepping into a really tough position. We've had a couple of the teams towards the bottom of the standings have these roster swaps where, you know, players will come in week 2, week 3 in the split, and I want to say that Maniac in particular, as we look at ganks like this, pretty creative. He loves to, still have action on the map, but the wherewithal to, like, understand, hey, there's a ward going around there. He actually takes a blast cone over the dragon wall and wraps all the way around for the blast cone here. Very creative in how he likes to approach, and I think he's a cool player to watch out for. But the other one, like I said, Lunacia, who just had an insane performance. I think this is just going to be a montage of solo kills against Philip, so sorry, Philip, but here's number 2, and then number 3 will be coming up soon. So these two players, I think, are the two core that I want to see FlyFam continue to play around and build around.
And I love the fact, too, that that's going up against one of the challenger teams. All the solo kills, as that little extra, cherry on top. But since we do have these two provisional teams facing off against each other, Angus, I know that you prepared a little presentation for us.
I did. So a reminder for everybody that the provisional teams, bottom 4, will go into the relegations tournament. Now, this is the current standings as where the teams match up against each other. This is my graphic skills put to the test here.
Stunning, by the way.
Is in fact my passion. Thank you. Thank you. If you can tell that there's, I added a little more effort this time. There's a fist taking off flight here with a little rocket trail. But Fear currently in first place of the provisional teams. Wildcard right behind them, though. This match could be the difference maker. Wildcard could actually catch up to Fear and overtake them as that first place, but the bigger one to look at is towards the bottom here because either AoE, Team Liquid first, it's unlikely that FlyQuest or CLG could, but if they can punch up and maybe overtake Fear in the second half of the year here, they could make up a lot of ground and then try and get out of that relegations picture. But this is kind of where they're all ranked so far in the split.
And I mean, Fear, they still have a couple of really tough competitors to go up against. They took that 0-2 loss to Dignitas yesterday. The schedule, they definitely got a couple of tough matches ahead of them. So it's definitely going to be a race for that top spot. And Wildcard, they could definitely go up a couple of more steps, considering if they can get a 2-0 today. But it's time to head to the draft, see if FlyFam can pass that oh-so-crucial test.
Let's see, Sierra. As Cubby, we're getting into this one. Again, I want to echo, we didn't get to hear your thoughts on FlyFam, so I want to get those in here before we get too many picks, because Lunacia has been popping off, and Maniac has actually slotted into the team pretty well.
Yeah, I think that Maniac, this is someone who's 17. He was playing in OQs on a team that barely didn't qualify in Northern Front. It was actually a really tragic last game against ISU, Illinois State University, who did make the OQ. But Maniac's point of view was pretty good. He's someone that, he's very young again. He's 17. And, in a lot of the VOD reviews I even had, Chad Jungle, who was in the chat, say, hey, given the circumstances, Maniac's actually performed really well. I know from talking with Maniac, he's been, hey, this is a great opportunity for me. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to keep learning. I think the kid's had a really good head on his shoulders. And for that, I'm kind of rooting for him and seeing how he's going to do today against Wildcard, where, again, this is a team where I feel like they like to draft or scaling. They like to draft how your champions interact in the fights later. That's where Wildcard has had a real edge. It does mean that early you can make plays into them.
Real quick here, I want to flag our social media. Screenshot the 3 bans so far, the Garen, Zach, and Blitzcrank, and just say, take a guess which team this was against, because I feel like most of our audience should be able to guess that this is against Wildcard, but they passed the test. They banned the Garen.
I will say, I actually think that you should be banning Callista away from Lens, but the fact that you first pick Ashe, that is a good matchup into the Callista. So kind of dissuading that as well. So I think the strategy so far from FlyFam has been okay. Sejuani gonna feel pretty good into the Maokai. You can pair up some melee solo laners, and they're gonna hold that Ashe flex throughout the rest of the draft as they take the Renekton. Now we'll see if Wildcard has an early answer.
Wildcard could go for the rest of their bot lane, or they could just lock in a top laner here, since they know that the Renekton is on the table. Yeah, Duo King's been loving that one, but ooh, it's actually a blind pick mid lane.
Okay, so we have 2 solo laners blinded, expecting Wildcard to throw out some bans to protect that Azir, get that casting out of there, and then on the side of FlyFam, there is a lot of magic damage, so they can let the Gragas go through, they can let the Ornn go through, if they so wish, but I am expecting a Gnar to be taken away. Or actually, that's not a Moose Hater champ. Who are we getting rid of from the Moose Hater pool, guys? Like, this is... What do we ban?
Yeah, what else has he played? Udyr?
Yeah, I mean, we could just ban Udyr. I guess. We could get rid of Fiora, honestly. But no, they actually are going to attack some of the point-and-click supports. So not worried about Moose Hater's pool.
I think that this also makes sense. Try and not allow Lens to pop up on the Misfortune. And as confused as I was initially by the Azir, Soligo loves this pick, and also I think it's pretty good into what has been drafted by FlyFam so far. Like, Renekton and Sejuani can both just get shuffled away and can struggle into that range. So
I think
that the draft from Wildcard is looking more teamfight focused. I think that if FlyFam want to ban out more of these teamfight focused champions, that makes sense.
That is usually the case. Something else I've really noticed with Wildcard, they are willing to slam bot lanes early, but a lot of their strength does come from that bot lane. Given what Moose Hater likes to play, we've seen Moose Hater pilot the Garen, the Zac. These are picks that need the scale and need time. So a lot of times we have seen Lens go for the Dravens, go for the Callistas, go for that lane prio. I was teasing the Zyra. Yeah, I wasn't kidding about the Zyra pick, guys. That's something that Duo King, he's played 4 games of it. So that is going to be taken away.
Oh, the Alawi.
And we have the Alawi to the double melee topside matchup. So, again, this is a Moose Hater pick. I think that Alawi loses lane against Renekton Sejuani. But later in the game, if you have too much dive, Alawi very powerful against these picks. So we will see if FlyFam decide to take more melees, more engaged, that is dangerous against Alawi.
I can't believe I forgot about this one. So you actually have her losing the top half matchup here into these. Because in my mind, she loves it when people want to dive into her.
They do.
Focus her.
She does, but early on, Renekton's too strong for the Alawi.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, can probably burst through quicker than you're able to drain tank.
I will say, though, the Cleaver buff's pretty nice for Alawi on this patch. So you're going to be a little bit stronger. But with that being said, we have a Zeri for Instinct. He sees the front line and feels like he needs to kite out. And then Blaze on the Akali. So that is a melee, but it is one that wins that matchup against Azir. You can go impact the bot lane. You synergize with Sejuani. And also you can kind of navigate around what makes Alawi difficult.
Hear me out, though.
Oh, boy.
Okay, maybe not as scary. Now, I was going to say Zeri can struggle into a Maokai point-and-click CC if you don't have anything like a Lulu to keep you alive. But that's really all you're worried about, I suppose. Maokai going in, maybe Misfortune ult over the top, because I don't think Senna's going to be providing, like, a lot of kill threat onto this pick now.
No, but Senna is pretty valuable this game. Again, you're playing into a lot of melees. You can buff up the Maokai, the Alawian fights, and it does enable you to somewhat neutralize the poke lane that FlyQuest is going to be running with some sustain as well. So I actually favor, again, the strength of Wildcard's bot lane in that raw 2v2, given the weakness of Zeri early in the map. This is a very much a Wildcard draft, right? They opt for scaling overall. If there's any strong point in the map, it's going to be that bot lane, letting Moose Hater, get the time to get into the game and do what he can do on some of these later game focused champions that he likes to pilot.
And they're both pulling out the cleanse, too, on Wildcard's bot side. So we'll
see if that goes through.
Double AD carry, basically. I think it makes sense, right? The Sejuani ultimate, the Ashe ultimate. There's a lot of things that cleanse will give you a lot of value for.
It is double cleanse.
Have it. Into game number 1 here, Wildcard. They always show up in the draft phase and bring us something fun.
It's double cleanse. I mean, I will say, Mikhail's does make life hell for the side of FlyFam, so why not just bring Mikhail's into the game, right? I guess. That's my cope.
That's the game plan.
I don't love it. But it does prevent each of them from getting picked. Again, this is a team where I feel like even the summoner spells are taking, right? Wildcard doesn't care how the lanes operate. They care about how the champions interact as you go later into the game. That I feel like has been a real draft edge for Wildcard, because a lot of these games, at this level of play, we have players that are younger aren't going to be able to execute as cleanly in terms of the early game. And if Wildcards can survive that, there have been games where, they're down 4K gold, but I feel like it's an even game and they have edge as the game goes on. This is definitely one of the games where that could be an example. I want to see if FlyFam can attack some of these lanes, especially with that Sejuani. You can go attack the Alawi. I want to see if they can execute that. Because if not, as this game goes on, I mean, Senna scales really hard from the support role. And I feel like Wildcard have advantages as this game moves forward.
I will say it's going to be a little harder if Moose Hater doesn't reconnect to the game. Okay, he's back. We're good. Moose Hater is in. So
we built in the delay for a reason. We're fine.
Exactly. I want to highlight something that happened there in the bot lane. FlyQuest says, Giga Chad, we banned Garen. They did it. Congratulations, FlyQuest. But what happened in the bot lane was they had the sweeper early and they cleared out a ward. Now everyone was around. Lunacia stopped his auto and allowed Blaze to take it. So they are intentionally giving Blaze the extra tick of XP. They can hit level 2 early. I actually kind of would have liked it on Lunacia. Just try and hard bully this top lane then. If you can push for level 2 early, maybe look for an early kill.
Maybe. I believe Blaze should get it off of the melee creep. Yeah, he wasn't able to cash in on it, so we will see. But at the moment, we have each of our junglers working opposite ways. Actually, a mirrored path with Keel not going towards bot. That is a bit of a surprise, given what we've seen in the meta, which has been very bot lane focused.
Yeah, you could say that. A lot of the ranged carries in the bot lane, as FlyFam and even Wildcard are demonstrating here. Although Senna doesn't feel as cheese compared to the others because she's kind of designed to be a support. We're just not used to seeing her necessarily with something like Misfortune.
This is a Duo King special, though. Something that he, pilots quite a bit. And also, I mean, I think the Senna later with the Umbral Glaive. We are still on the patch where, you know, you can one-tap the wards. You do get some value. But we will see. Sometimes I have seen Duo King go for the Kraken Slayer. Given that there are 2 tanks, I don't think that's going to be the call of this game. But again, something that, you know, he has options for when it comes to the build. And you can see right now, trading isn't going in favor of Wildcard, but some sustain helps. And I do like that Maniac's here. I mean, Keel is not. So they could execute this dive. This would be a huge win early for FlyFam.
All the poke was an investment for this play right here. Who tanks the turret first? Maniac's going in.
Oh, no.
Start taking it up.
Oh, no.
Lens is getting the damage, though.
Oh, no.
First blood for Wildcard as Soligo charges in onto Instinct. That's Ghost out of him and Heal Flash out of Sword. So 3 summoners plus Flash on Maniac. 4 summoners invested, and it's kill picked up by Wildcard.
Ooh. Okay, Lens is able to sneak out barely, but Keel's here now, and FlyFam, oh boy.
Lens has the blue buff, can just walk up and press E, most likely. Keel's here. Gonna land the slow
really nice.
onto Sword, and then roots down Instinct. Oh! Instinct still had Flash. Lens, you should have factored that one in.
All right.
Traded back 1 for 1.
I mean, that is important that Instinct was able to get a kill, but still, I mean, this bot lane game plan, if we see the replay, this play was actually blown up by Duo King Senna. He lands a root onto Sword, who took tower aggro, and he had the flash instantly. That's why the juggle was so bad. You can see him and Instinct both flash out. Oh, it was actually Instinct who had it, not Sword. So Sword has to stick around, has to deliver a couple more autos, but FlyFam, they don't get the juggle correct on this early game. And again, Wildcard, this is the kind of stuff they're punishing at NACL because these picks scale so hard. And FlyFam, they had an early game idea, but this execution goes way south for them. And now Wildcard have a huge advantage in this game.
Yeah, that was a rough one. Still feels all right for Instinct to trade 1 back. Uses the flash for that, so coming back to lane with a kill plus CS advantage. But Lens picking up both kills, 2 and 1 on the Misfortune early.
So, curious to see Moose Hater looks to be rocking, or maybe going towards that Iceborne Gauntlet. We have seen that out of his Alawi in the past. Again, Cleaver being buffed in this patch. I think that's going to be expected. We'll keep an eye on what Moose Hater decides to build. But, I mean, this early game, you're going to have Azir shoving in now. Bot lane, honestly, given the item breakpoint, Zeri can be okay, but it's still not ideal for the side of FlyFam. And I don't know like what point of strength now FlyFam can find on the map. I feel like it's got to be around this Akali pick, trying to get out of lane and do something.
Enable Blaze. Enable Akali to do Akali things. As Moose Hater actually has level 6 here ahead of Lunacia and also won the trade battle there. So, yeah, everything's looking pretty rough for FlyFam. And going back to the point I had said earlier in Pick and Ban, this is a team that has been able to go toe-to-toe with a lot of teams higher in the standings. I mean, every team's higher in the standings, but a lot of teams that are very good teams. But then they'll usually run into a moment late game where things start to fall apart. Now they're going to have to find their way to get to that point where they actually have some kind of gold. So far, the early game has not looked great.
And this was a team that we felt like week 1 should have 3 wins on the board with Goo, right? So we will see if they can keep that up. As Lunacia does get Moose Hater to take a tower shot, but it's good.
Oh, and flashes away from the double tentacle smash and gets the solo kill. That was good.
Well done by Lunacia. He cleared out the wave, so Moose Hater put in an awkward spot. Now we do have Dragon being taken.
Maniac does not get it, but the fight has started. Blaze onto the back line. Good. Emperor's Defied. Oh, but the perfect execution in from Blaze. Flashes in with a 5-point strike. Heal low. Instinct in. Enabled as the carry. Rooted up by Duo King, throwing out that W over the wall. And barely not able to pop off more.
Oh, and Instinct, he actually threw the W at Azir instead of trying to go for Lens. I think they might have been able to get a bonus one. Importantly, the Dragon was secured for Wildcard, but a decent attempt here from FlyFam as Wildcard kind of going for 2 plays at once with Moose Hater being under the Renekton's turret, and now going for Dragon, and Blaze was able to punish a little bit.
Wasn't exactly the Akali pop-off that we were hoping for, but still was present in the fight, gets an assist for himself and a stack of the Dark Seal. You just get shuffled back immediately. Yeah, let's watch Instinct here, where he decides to throw out the damage.
He throws the W on Azir right here. Yeah, if he goes over the wall, I think he might be able to find Lens. Like, Lens can sidestep it, but it would have been tricky. He has no sums. So I would have rather seen Instinct maybe go for another kill there. But still, for FlyFam, I like how aggressive Blaze was playing that again. Said earlier, it feels like this game's already going south for FlyFam. They need someone to break the map. That's got to be the strength of these solo laners early on in this game before Azir becomes too much of a problem.
Lunacia is actually dodging out everything right there from Moose Hater. I'm just so impressed with this player coming in with no expectations at all, if I'm being honest. Like, I wasn't sure what we could expect from Lunacia as a player, and I think that already the clear standout here for FlyFam against a player that's been giving a lot of other top laners trouble.
Lunacia was the player that we knew the least about coming into NACL this split. It was someone that his only competitive experience was playing for the University of Oregon, who did not go far in CLAW. And he has been doing much better than that, given his history and past. He's been taking a lot of solo kills. Oh, hold on, Sligo.
Snipe from Maniac there, but they didn't have quite enough damage. Blaze did not perfect execution through Soligo. Gets shuffled back.
I was looking for the E. He didn't get it out before the Emperor's Divide came out from Soligo, so he gets to walk out for free.
Ooh, oh, that's a lot of damage.
Okay,
Still
that's
out
creative.
of sword. Barely alive. Lens and Duo King, despite getting shoved in their turret early on, they're coming back here.
And speaking of getting shoved out, Lunacia is like 1v8 up here against the Tentacles. Gonna be forced to go back to the turret. Maniac, we are at the point of the game where you can't really approach the Alawi lane anymore as Sejuani. Like, she's tanky, and if she's able to get a lot of rotations of those spells off, it's tough. And Wildcard, knowing that's going to use it to try and take Herald. Now, I will say, Sword is rotating up. He does not have 6, but he will be here. FlyFam have a numbers advantage. It's a little bit dangerous.
Early ultimate from Lunacia coming in here. Moose Hater pulls him in, has the ult himself. Everyone from FlyFam's got to get out.
Moose Hater.
Maniac failing to flash over the wall, but Blaze is there. Perfect execution in. Finds the damage. 1-for-1 trade so far. Sword is here. Heal the focus.
It's good.
Blaze looking at him. Double kill the Blaze. The Akali is poised to pop off. Gets flash out of Soligo.
Good flash from Soligo, but again, that was an instance where that wasn't really a fight the Wildcard should have went for, right? Like, Sword was rotating up. They were committed to keeping DK in the bot side on the Senna. They did get a couple plates for the MF, but that's Wildcard reaching a little bit. And we saw the strength of Moose Haters and now able to go even, but that's not an objective they could have taken.
Blaze actually got to be careful here. Okay. Sword is helping clear out. I was looking at Soligo. That Emperor's Divide is up and a lot of poke damage in, but yeah, Sword getting on the map was big there for FlyFam. I love to see that from supports, getting out of their lane, especially against something like a Misfortune Senna. They're not going to have a lot of kill threat onto Azeri underneath the turret, but let's get a re-look here as Lunacia started off tanking up a lot of the damage.
And you can see the power of Alawi here against melees. I mean, Lunacia is brought down to half. Maniac tried to get over the wall, get away from the Tentacles. Wasn't enough. Moose Hater takes him, but Sword being here, they're just able to have the numbers advantage. A little bit of a split focus here from Wildcard. And the slows from Ash. Do good. Blaze has gold. That's very important. I think Blaze can break the game plan of Wildcard again. He's got to start going bot lane, though. We have to attack this MF Senna. So I really want to see if FlyFam can get Blaze out. Either make a play on the Azir in the mid lane, and or get him to that bot lane where he can blow up those squishies.
Juicy looking shut down on Lens right now. Everyone's heading up to the Herald again. FlyFam are here first, as they even sent Instinct up to catch his mid-wave. Lens actually repaths bot side, so Wildcard might just say, okay, it's not the fight. Let's give it up.
All right. Will be a drop. Now, Lens will be able to stack up even more gold on that bot side. As you called out, Kangas already has that shutdown, and I really like the Kraken Slayer this game. You have some flexibility with builds with MF. You know, you can go poke, you can go on hit. I think given the top side and the tankiness of Renekton plus Sejuani, I think the on-hit is the right move here from Lens. So, and the fact that he's been given so many plates early, if you'd have had on that Kraken Slayer build, it can be pretty lethal.
And because FlyFam went for the Herald top side, Wildcard can use this Misfortune with that first item completed to go towards the Dragon. FlyFam will spot it, but they don't really have an approach here. They actually might go for the steal. Ooh, that was kind of close from Instinct. And the arrow lands on the Duo King, blazes in, just causing havoc on the back line. Perfect execution and the 5-point strike. A lot of damage from Blaze and Instinct comboing together. One traded back. Lens flashes the wall. So much damage from the on-hit Misfortune. The triple kill is in sight. Strut has the slow from the E.
He leveled up.
Oh, Maniac gets away though. Lens can't get the triple, but still, that was a Giga Chad MF play.
That was clutch too, because I thought Blaze was going to run the fight there for a second. Again, everyone's you're on the Sakali. This is the time of the game where you're so damn powerful. Blaze was so close to cleaning that fight up, just couldn't get down bonus members of Wildcard and then starting it around. They got the Dragon, they're up 2k gold. I mean, everything's fine and dandy here for Wildcard. It's not the cleanest, but that is where the game state's at. Let's take a second look though, because I thought Blaze had this Kangas.
Yeah, Lens positions by the buff. That's what I want to keep my eyes on. He's not doing a lot here. The ultimate does some good chunk damage to start off, but then watch this flash.
No, I think that Blaze should have flashed over the Emperor's Divide and then Ard. Everyone was so low. I think that if he uses that, he maximizes his damage a little bit more. Might be able to take down more members because everyone did end up getting very low. Yeah. He got no damage off that R execute. I think he would have taken one with him and maybe a couple more. He's able to reposition for those 5-point strikes. But Blaze, holding that flash for later, not being proactive. Again, this is the point of the game where I think FlyQuest are winning. I love to see our players flash forward when they know that their champs are ahead at this point of the game. Blaze not doing that, I feel like cost FlyFam a little bit and enabled Lens to turn things around.
Still a relatively close game as of now. Arrow lands onto Saligo.
That's good.
Saligo in trouble, and Chain CC, he's stunned, and perfect execution. Plus the Sejuani ultimate. Glacial Prison will get the kill.
Nice arrow from Sword. It's only 2 cleanses on the side of Wildcard, not 3, as he goes down. And I will say, I think all eyes, on the back half have to be on Lens. And Lens, for me, with this Wildcard team, he's really impressed. Again, he's stepping in for Wixie, and he's been playing the Draven, the Kalista, very lane-focused picks well. He's on the map this time. 5-1-1 on the on-hit build, going for that BT second to abuse the interaction. Okay. So he's going BT second to abuse the interaction with MF and Strut, because if you have that overshield up, your Strut stays up. I really want to see how aggressive Lens can position in this game, because he is so far ahead of the curve and could be a big point of power for Wildcard and the big carry in the back half of this one.
It's pretty rare to look at a Zeri that's 4-2 and say, yeah, they're actually not ahead of their 80 carry opponent. Lens is poised to carry in this game, has a good front line to stand in front. The Senna to keep him alive. Lunacia face checks into Moose Hater, but Moose Hater doesn't have the ultimate. Lunacia does have Dominus going forward, has a lot of damage. Do you want to flash for it? Does not. Moose Hater losing the trade.
Well done by Lunacia again. This point of the game, very important here for FlyFam. They're down goal, but this is where they're strong.
Oh! Sticking around, and he found out, but at least Keel's there to make it a trade. 1 for 1.
I thought the Sentinel was going to save Moose Hater for a sec. I was about to be so sad for Lunacia. At least it's the Maokai. Good position there from Keel. As another fun one from this game, Kangas, as we look at Maniac. Maniac, before the game, on his Twitter, said that one of the first players who coached him was actually Keel. So he's going up against someone that actually helped Maniac get here. Kind of cool. As Maniac, of course, the last player to join the league. Him going up against an old coach. Kind of a neat backstory.
A little lore drop there, Coach.
Yeah, a little bit. Shout out to Maniac for dropping that one.
That's one of the cool things about NACL. The fact that it's not just 10 LCS affiliate teams anymore. We've opened it up. There's 6 more teams. A lot of them mostly, younger players coming in without as much experience. We get to learn all the relationships between the players and who knows who's interacted with who before. There's a lot of fun stuff that we can dive in there.
It was a nice tidbit I picked up from Maniac's Twitter. But at the moment, he's going to need to dig deep if he wants to take down the Master. Because Wildcard, they are the masters of the late game team fight, what we've seen so far in NACL. And that 2k gold lead, and I love the scaling. I mean, MF's ahead. We have the Locket Senna, so we can give our team with some extra tankiness. MF and Azir should be able to step up and get a lot of DPS down. It's going to be on FlyQuest to try and connect with some of these arrows and at least take the cleanses away from the bot lane of Wildcard. And we will see if Maniac and Sword can start to land these big ults and at least get some tools away from Wildcard. But they have a good setup before this Dragon.
Dragon's up right now. Wildcard controlling the access point to it. All 5 members on the bottom half of the map. Lunacia has teleport. if FlyFam want to look for a flank. But honestly, I think it's maybe okay to just give the Dragon, take the turret instead. This will give you a little bit more gold onto the Renekton. Okay, nope, they're going for the teleport. They landed the arrow onto Lens. A lot of damage. Soligo buying space. Lens is down, though. Moose Hater has a flank here on the Alawi. Not necessarily known to be a champion that can flank well, and a double kill to Blaze. FlyFam are winning where Wildcard have dominated the mid to late game team fights. They actually took this one.
It was a great arrow from Sword, and the cleanse from Lens was actually early. So he ate a little bit of the arrow duration, didn't flash out, and that enabled Blaze to capitalize. And Blaze, props to him, we were focusing on him early. He was the one that got some of the early gold for FlyFam. We said he has to carry this game, kind of break the game plan and destroy the squishies for Wildcard. He did just that in that fight.
And I gotta say, Moose Hater, you're not playing Garen. Going for the flanking angle on the Alawi is not the same. Well. You gotta let them come into you. I feel like Wildcard just weren't ready for the fight, despite the fact that they had first setup.
Yeah, and because Lens wasn't able to cleanse immediately out of the arrow, he actually hit it early. He was stuck. Blaze was able to connect everything onto the MF. No flash from Lens to get out. He tanked up a lot with a Kraken BT, but when he's removed from the fight first, that's the big majority of the damage and the gold lead for Wildcard. So well played from Blaze and FlyFam. We have a good team fight execute. Now look at the consequences of that. Zeri's caught up. Akali, her next base is going to be big, and now...
Dual King's got the cleanse, was waiting to see maybe if FlyFam went a little over-aggressive. I like that, holding it for as long as possible. Okay. But yeah, I mean, we can say it's good for FlyFam because it's first off a sign of life. They're able to hang with Wildcard in these fights. But then we go back to live. It's one Dragon to 2. They're catching up in the gold lead, but it's not over yet. It's not like they can celebrate too early here. They got a lot of work left to do.
They do, but there are some things that are good for the side of FlyFam, as we will return to the cams. Unfortunately, we have a pause.
I guess so.
Hopefully
we'll get disconnected again.
We'll get an update to you guys as soon as we can. But I think the one really good thing that we have right now on the side of FlyFam, there's not a lot of CC to deal with the Akali. Like, Maokai is the vast majority of it. There is an Emperor's Divide, but that's not the hard CC that's going to stop Akali from running rampant in that squishy backline. And the fact that Blaze has gold and has the Zhonya's finished on my screen, hopefully we'll be able to get back in the game as soon as possible, but it is Blaze's game to carry.
And it's the opposite story when you look at FlyFam. They have a lot of CC. Sword has been sniping these arrows and setting up Blaze to go for a lot of these plays, specifically that last big team fight there. So, yes, I like where you're going with this one. I just don't want to curse FlyFam too early because I feel like we always get to this point where we're so excited about them in the game state. Like, oh, they're going to do it. They're going to pick up another win. And then a big moment happens, and then obviously they don't.
It's true, but again, I mean, this is why we've been higher on FlyFam than CLG Faith as the two teams in the bottom of the standings. And I gotta say, I mean, the fact that the game state is where it is and they've actually shown they've been able to win a couple fights, even one behind against Wildcard, that is a really nice sign for FlyFam in their debut this week.
I think the FlyFam, like you've said, we've mentioned this a couple times on broadcast, that they're a team that theoretically should have more wins than they do. The 1-13 we don't feel reflects how well they've actually been playing the majority of their games, and it would be cool to see a surge in the second half of the season. But at the same time, for Wildcard, it's tough because, like, there's so many reasons to get excited about this team. They're surging right now in the standings, so I want to root for both of them right now, but luckily I don't have to be biased and I can be happy regardless of who wins. We're investigating the game pause right now, everybody. We'll keep you updated as information comes in, but for right now, if you're just joining us, there is a pause between FlyFam and Wildcard, so that's why you see our faces instead of the game. Yeah,
I know it's kind of a blower. You know, we'd rather see the game too, but we'll be looking into it, and at the moment, I gotta say, Wildcard, we ran a strength of schedule graphic yesterday, Kangas, with
we did
opponent's win rate. You know where Wildcard was sitting at 10-4 in that?
I am not sure, but I don't know if does production have that queued up. This would actually be a time that we could have a visual example.
Their opponent's win percentage was quite high. In fact, it was above 50%. Even with Wildcard being, 10-4, likely to be beating more opponents. They've had a tough strength of schedule. And it leads you to wonder, how good are Wildcard? Where do they fall in our provisional team standings? So I know that Cincinnati Fear are above them technically in the standings, but us as a broadcast team and also a lot of our... Oh, never mind. We're done. Okay. Screw the point. Back to the game. Throw it out the window.
Is more important, but we'll cover that, of course, coming out of it. I would love to catch up on the strength of schedule graphic, because that's something I didn't get to talk about yesterday, and I think is fascinating. FlyFam, they are not on that above 50% win rate for opponents, but that doesn't mean that they can't pick up a win here against Wildcard, as they are poised in a pretty good position in game.
What I was getting at is the fact that they have split series with CLG Challengers and also 2-0'd C9. We feel like they are a bit more proven as a provisional team, and one to be taken very seriously in the league, not just as a provisional team, but just as a team itself. Oh, that's a nice ult.
Again, the Empress Divide every time, but this time Blaze lands it. Oh, flash out of Saligo.
Ooh, if Blaze proto belts and then Qs, he gets the Azir there. So I would have liked to see that out of Blaze. Unfortunately, not going to be the case. Azir gets away, but still, FlyQuest, and props to Maniac as well. I mean, he's hunting the Azir in the sides. He's playing through Blaze. I feel like that's a good recognition of what FlyFam needs right now.
Yeah, I've been very happy with Maniac's play so far. We talked about him a little bit before the show, a little bit into game one here, but subbing in very late in the season, replacing Gu, who was playing for the first couple of weeks, and honestly, I think performing well above expectations for a player in the situation that he's in.
I mean, there are no expectations, right? This kid's 17. This is the highest level of play he's ever seen. And the fact that, you know, he's doing a little bit more than hold his own, again, very promising for the side of FlyFam. Excited to see what Maniac can do. And I think as a young kid, he's got a good head on his shoulders, right? Win or learn. That's what we'd like to see here in the developmental league. Doing a highlight, though, we are 90 seconds away from the next dragon. And there is that little buffed up Black Cleaver here for Moose Hater in the top side. Going to be doing a lot of work against that Sejuani, and could be doing a lot of work against Lunacia too, but Lunacia actually going for that one-shot build with the Prowler's Claw from the look of things.
I don't hate that. You have a double threat
in the back line.
Onto the back line. Yeah, you already highlighted very little CC. It's the Twisted Advance, it's Nature's Grasp, Emperor's Divide. Two of those were ultimates. And then, yeah, I guess Duo King's got like a delayed root they can throw out as well, but not many tools to prevent either a lethality Renekton or a full AP Akali from getting on you.
I do want to see if Keel has the Radiant Virtue done here. I feel like that's another really big item is Moose Hater. Take a little bit of a love tap. Yeah, Radiant Virtue is now wrapped up. That's big for Wildcard because now they can match the Radiant Virtue on the side of FlyFam. And I feel like the heal cut a little bit more applicable here for the Senna than it is for the Renekton. But not getting too much in the nitty-gritty. FlyFam have the control over this at the moment as Heal Wildcard have to work their way up. Good play from FlyFam to take over this objective so far.
Shout out to the observers. They're showing the vision of Wildcard. They have to approach here blind. Moose Hater didn't know where everyone was, so backing off. But now actually getting a really big chunk onto Blaze. That could be very impactful for this next fight.
It hurts. Protobelt's out. Blaze can TP back, but it looks like that chunk is enough for FlyFam to actually ditch this. They're going to play for the two turrets on the top side. Wildcard are going to get Soul Point.
I like this, though. You can always go for the next fight when you're in a better position. You don't have to burn both teleports, which is what will be required to stop this one. It's not Soul. Give them Soul Point. Take a turret. Take two turrets. And get all this top jungle as well. I guess there's only one camp that they can take there, but I think that's a pretty heads-up play for a very young squad of FlyFam.
I would much rather see that than still take the fight. As that setup, I mean, they took control over bot side. Lunacia never left the top side. They stayed disciplined. They didn't take the fight. That was really nice, and now they might get a catch.
You get an arrow onto Keel. Maniac goes in. The front line. Damage onto Moose Hater. He's locked in. Throws out the ultimate. Blaze with a flank now. Takes a lot of damage on his health bar. I don't even know what hurt Blaze to start that off. Maybe he just stuck around and never backed, actually. Yeah, he pushed in the bot side instead. So Wildcard,
no, he TP'd. Oh. I'd love to actually go back and see what it took him down, because now he has to base. And Wildcard, I gotta say, Wildcard, they could think about starting Baron here. Now, the one concern I have, Instinct's level 14. Saligo is level 12. I know that we've been looking a lot at this Azir, how he's been getting forced out. That's big. Azir needs levels. We could see Instinct maybe take over here, but it's going to be close. Can they get there in time even? The tools are down. They have an ECA.
They know the Wildcard's here, but there's very big health bars right now. The Baron's down. Duo King still alive in the pit. There, Blaze gets a lot of damage. Moose Hater find all this space! Moose Hater! absolute carry performance in a 1v4, keeping all of FlyFam out of the pit and keeping Wildcard in this game.
Oh my god, Moose Hater on the Alawi. He hits the flash R and the tentacles hit everyone. I think it hit me through the screen even there, Kangas, as everyone from FlyFam was brought so low from the Moose Hater ultimate. And Wildcard continue to show that these late game team fights are just theirs.
What a play. After, again,
Cleaver,
the last couple of team fights looking rough for Moose Hater Alawi. Not an easy champion to pilot in these 5v5s, but if they're walking into you, it's a lot easier to pull off things like that. Moose Hater with the killer instinct. We gotta get a replay of that.
Give me a I don't know if we can show more tentacles on stream. We're gonna need to replay this. You know, one time only opportunity.
On the stream, yeah.
The one time only opportunity here. But oh my god, Moose Hater. I mean, yeah, the lane phase didn't go that well for Moose. You know, Lunacia found the solo kill, was getting flashes, had pressure, but again, the later stages of the game, we've seen Wildcard. They don't play for lane. They play to win the fights later. And it's been a strategy that's been working out damn well for Wildcard, and looks to be getting them another win on the board here.
They're continually pushing in. Soligo catching midway, but everyone else bot lane right now. Lunacia cannot stop this. This should be an inhibitor falling. If they even want to take it, they could just leave up the inhibitor. Maniac with a big flank lands right on the Lens. That's cleansed out. Still has flash, repositioning. Lens has got into a really good spot here. And Wildcard with expert level team fighting. They counter FlyFam and answer right on back. That's Maniac down. This inhibitor is theirs.
That is a cleanse that can punish later, but the cleanse came up real big there for the side of Wildcard, as that's one inhibitor down and on the cruise. I mean, they can reset with the Baron too and get this soul pretty easily on the side of Wildcard. All right. How many tentacles do we see on the screen here, folks? We're just going to have to count them up once Moose Hater hits the R flash. And FlyFam, they're late to this. They are late on the play.
Three tentacles right now.
No, it comes... So, Moose, yeah, we just R flash. And I see
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then one off screen. Not
oh my god. Dear Lord. Well, that's a pretty good Alawi ult, I must say.
Yep, I don't think any of the casters but Joshi would want to be in that one, getting slapped around. What a crazy play for Moose Hater. Popping off in the team fight, and that is what Wildcard propelled them to now a pretty big lead. You said that they're setting up for the Dragon Soul. They got 3 in their pocket right now and a 3,000 gold lead here. Yep. Plus, everyone's cashing in on the gold. We got 3 items on Moose Hater. We got the stopwatch completed on Soligo. They are ready to fight.
You take away the Garen, Moose Hater, he might be a tentacle lover, as, you know, they've been pretty big in the later stages of the game. FlyFam going to be forced to play through bot lane for this Dragon, which is a must-win for them. Mountain Soul, very, very powerful. If Wildcard gets this, that's the back's broken of the side of FlyFam, and we will see if Wildcard... Good setup so far. It's tough to set up in the Maokai. Again, FlyFam, they have to go through this bot lane as Moose Hater. We're going to fish.
Let's keel here. If they get vision, they can go for the snap engage. Lunacia and Blaze quite far away, so Maniac would have to buy a lot of space.
Oh, jeez.
Moose Hater lands the first full. Maniac has to back away. Dragon is started. How does FlyFam want to approach this?
Maniac, they're just got to start
that's
it.
They're over the wall. Yeah, Dragon Soul is gone. Lens, no cleanse available.
Nice
Flashes to safety, and Blaze, unfortunately, a little too low of a health bar there to survive and do much more on the back line. Wildcard get the Dragon. They take down the enemy assassin.
That's really well played from Soligo.
Slows down onto Sword right there. Moose Hater's going in. Sword slowed yet again here. They're going to catch up to this Ash Lens with the flanking misfortune. Even sidesteps Maniac, gets the kill, and there you have it. That's the game. The Wildcard moment is sometimes delayed, but you can never push it off indefinitely. They will win the late game team fight, getting the Dragon Soul, and closing out game 1.
They don't play for lane, baby. They play for the fights. And Wildcard, they continue to be the most interesting team that we have in NACL. As these picks, an Alawi Senna comp, I gotta say, there is theory behind it, right? Senna playing into all those melees, Alawi Maokai supporting them in the front line. There's a lot of power in that for Senna. It's the reason why we see Senna Maokai was a pairing in the past for bot lanes. I think that Wildcard, like, there is something to these drafts, and teams have to figure them out. Because if they don't, Wildcard plays their game. No one else can play into their game in the league. It's tough, and Wildcard's taking wins from it.
And the fact that they're so confident to go for these objectives, they were always trying to pull FlyFam into them. There was that one rough play around the third dragon where, you know, it got a little away from them. But other than that, pretty good setups from Wildcard. That is one of the hardest things to deal with against them. While the players get ready for game number 2, we're going to send it to a short break, though, and bring Sierra back after this for our halftime segment. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, everyone, to Pro Review. Today, I have AoE Gold Marksman in the bot lane, Lynx, coming in to join me. First game that we have, our first clip, is when you were playing up against IMT, and this game started off pretty even, but this is the big dragon fight that you had that kind of blows open the game.
I kind of remember this fight. It was pretty stressful. We just want them to come into us. We can just hit the front. We don't really want to dive too much.
How surprised were you by Balulu's Emperor's Divide as he comes in and flashes forward?
Yeah, right here, I remember in game, my camera control was not the best. I wasn't paying too much attention to the back, so it definitely caught me off guard.
Are you an A mover or a right clicker during fights?
I'm a A mover.
Where do you have your mouse placed throughout most of this fight?
So right here, it's mainly just on the dragon, and then as soon as I see the sign, I just make sure that I don't get hit by it.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, it's just hitting front target. Because usually as ADC, it's hard to dive like in the back, even if your team wants to. So you just want to hit the front target mostly. If you want to improve your gameplay, you should definitely try and make your clicks as close to your character as possible, so they're more precise. So if you're trying to practice, I definitely recommend trying to make it as close as you.
Is there any like streamer, any person that you have noticed that they have like really good mouse control in terms of that for like people to watch?
Yeah, I think Gumayushi, the T1 80 carry, is probably one of the best in terms of mouse movement.
Yeah.
I watch him trade in lane, and he just always makes sure he's out of range of the enemy and in range to auto attack, and I think that's really good.
This is the other game where you're playing the Jhin in a very similar situation.
Well, right off the bat, on Jhin, a lot of the times when you're going for these big objectives like Dragon or Baron, you want to try and save your force shot to try and execute it. It's almost like a second smite. Right here, I'm actually pretty tanky, like even as Jhin. I have tabbies, so I'm not too scared. I think I didn't even have to Gale Force that early. I could have maybe baited him in more, made him jump on me and then go.
One of the things you kind of touched on there is you can actually use your health as a resource. Is there anything that you do that you feel helps maximize that?
I think a lot of the time people use abilities or flashes kind of without thinking, which is not good. Like right here, I'm sure I wasn't thinking too much about my Gale Force, you know? But it's really important to make sure you like have a reason for clicking these abilities. So I should want to Gale Force like after Rengar jumps out of the bush, right? So we kind of bait him in, and then I use my ability to get away. Sometimes like I watch like worse players, and like even myself, I catch myself doing it, that someone is running at you, like say like a Blitzcrank, right? He's running at you with his Q ready to use, and you'll just flash without him even throwing it out. So that's not good. You gotta like wait for them to use ability and play reactive, right?
This is when you guys start to turn around the actual play.
When he used Zhonya's, you just have to try and find the next target you can hit, right? Because you can't just sit there and wait for him to get out of Zhonya's, because then you're just out of the fight for 2 whole seconds. You're not doing much.
Around here, you have the option to either play this on the left side along the wall, or you can go towards the right.
If I commit on the left side, I don't really have much space to work with, you know? There's a lot more area on the right side where I can move, maneuver with my E, stuff like that. So I think fighting on the right side it just opens me up to have much more areas to move around and dodge abilities and such. Because if I walk forward right here, like the enemy can just throw all their spells, Spyrex can just easily walk up and use his ult, use flash up, stuff like that. So trying to gain as much area of movement you can is definitely good for the fight.
Who's the best roommate?
Ooh, it has to be Isaac, hands down. Yeah? This guy's an angel.
What makes Isaac such a good roommate?
He cleans, he cooks, he's just the best.
Who's the worst roommate?
Ooh, it's gotta be Winnie. This guy's he's not even that bad. It's just I think all our roommates are really good. Gotta pick someone, you know. Yeah. Thanks to all the fans, everyone supporting AoE. I know we haven't played the best so far, but we're gonna turn that around and then we'll make you guys proud.